see tonight. Good evening. It is May 2nd at 7 o'clock p.m., and I would like to call the May meeting of the Sutton Police Building Committee to order. First item on our agenda is review of the minutes from April 4th. If everyone could just take an additional minute to take a look at those, please.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the April 4th meeting as presented.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions?
Me.
Thank you, Wayne.
Me.
So as everyone in town is likely noted driving by the site, progress is coming along quite fabulously. So we're very excited tonight to get an update on both the building progress and the financial perspective of where we are today. So I guess, Neil, we'll start with you if you want to give us your perspective on a building update.
Sure. Excuse me. The last month has seen very good progress within the building. We've been working steadily on completing the underground utilities. So all of the underslab plumbing and electrical has been completed at the basement level. And happy to report that as of today, the concrete floor for the basement level was put in and saw cut. So that's all prepped and ready to go. In terms of site work, we've been bringing fill into the site and adding material in and around the foundation. They installed all of the fire protection cisterns. Most of the storm drainage on the site is complete. The septic system is complete. So they've done a tremendous amount of site work outside of the building as well. We put the utility interface in across the street, which at this point in time is limited to just empty conduits to support both the IT and telephone services future coming in off of the pole on Central Turnpike. And we're anticipating over the next 60 to 90 days, steel framing will commence first. They'll put the steel frame in the basement, followed by the decking for the first floor. They'll pour the first floor slab, and then they'll commence with the wood framing, which is the structure over the top of the lower level. In addition to pushing the wood framing skyward, we'll also be working in the basement level with the concrete masonry unit walls, CMU walls, and the framing of the lower level, which is predominantly masonry. So that's pretty much an overview of where we are. When we laid out the schedule with the contractor, as winter released its slow grip on the project, we had laid out some tentative dates, which put us roofing the project and putting the asphalt shingles on the roof in mid-July, and we're looking very much like that is attainable, which should get us into the building on or about the middle of December, which is pretty much what we have been forecasting all the way along. So things are looking pretty good. Certainly fairer weather this month than we've had in months past, so it's been a much better month production-wise, and we're anticipating that'll continue through May and into the summer months in June. So
I can just tell you from my perspective, being at the construction meetings, I have a much greater sense of comfort with the progress that, is being accomplished week to week now. And, we're pretty much on point, between various delays and the weather. There was a lot of unknown for, a couple of months. But right now it's
things seem to have fallen
almost
into place.
comforting. I don't want to jinx myself, but it's almost
Thank you.
comforting.
Things seem to have fallen into place nicely, again, over the last month or so. And it seems like the contractor is hitting the dates that he's forecasting with much greater frequency. And things become much more predictable when you can pretty much take weather out of the equation and you're not fighting frost late in the season or, unanticipated snowfalls and then the melting and all of that. When it becomes a little bit more normal and a little bit what you're used to, things get much more predictable and you can start to plan a little better. Everybody's ramped up, subs are busy, guys are working. Everybody's ready to go. So soon, I think as soon as we get a frame up and we get the roof on and the building is weather tight, so to say, I think you'll be equally appeased once the building gets into the hands of the subcontractors and the subs push the work through the rough in. And then we'll begin closing in the walls in the fall, and then painting and finishes late fall into the winter. And broad brush, that's how I see things going forward, and I'd be surprised if at this point we couldn't get there without any difficulty, so.
Any questions for Neil? Yes.
Did we have any adverse effects from the supposedly bad weather, which I thought was great weather, but this winter here, with the foundation, footings, and
I would say that,
where did it all go?
I would say that we made the best of what we had, and that we did a good job of working through the weather, not necessarily productively, but we worked through it, and we got through it. I think we're a little bit later now than we expected to be back in, November when we broke ground on the project. But again, according to our discussions with the contractor and where the contractor thinks he'll be, we're still projecting to finish the building in December.
I mean, there was no adverse effects, I mean, with the weather related to the pouring of the concrete, that was my
Nope.
question.
Nope. No, like I said, between cold weather concrete procedures and blankets and monitoring the concrete for temperature and exposure after the fact, we were able to work around the weather the best that we could. And that's a tribute to Nelco and to their subcontractors that did the work, so.
Anything from Tecton with regard to that? If you would
Tecton.
just do,
Oh, I'm
I know you,
oh.
but I didn't know if Matt had
Um,
relayed anything to you, or,
Matt has not, and I don't, we don't have any change orders for the month. I can just speak for Matt, he's been responsive to RFIs and information going back and forth between him and Nelco, so, from what we can tell and we've seen.
excellent. Well, you guys are a great team.
We're doing our best.
Excellent. Anything else with regard to the construction update? No? So moving on to finance, we did just have our most recent finance meeting on this past Friday.
We did. The budget summary that you see before you this evening incorporates the invoices for this month as well as the costs incurred to date. We're roughly 23% expended on budget in total, and that includes the $382,275.72 that we'll be presenting to the accounting department to process for invoices through April 30th. So these are very current numbers. Our contingency remains $205,000 and change to date. We are expecting that number will, I think, at least go up a little in terms of processing both the value engineering change incentives that we've previously presented to the committee, as well as working with the contractor and further negotiating the work under CCD1 for the maintenance base. So we're expecting to put some money back into the contingency. Exactly what that number is, I'd rather not say at this point. But suffice it to say that we're working diligently with Nelco in a very cooperative and collaborative manner to make sure that we get a fair and equitable number for that process.
And we're at the point where we're getting ready to raise steel. Do you think being about a quarter of the way into our budget is what you would project?
Admittedly, I'd like to see that number a little higher, but that's to be expected. We'll see that number jump up with both the completion of the steel and the release of the lumber. When the roof trusses come, that will be a big number that goes into the budget very quickly. So we'll see that number come up higher as we advance through the next 60 to 90 days.
Tim, did you have anything from town perspective with regard to how budget's going or the bill pay system?
Everything's working smoothly.
Excellent. Excellent. Jim, anything?
I think the only, the positive is we got out of the ground with very few change orders, roughly $60,000. And then now we have over 200 remaining and probably add to that shortly, so I think that's a positive for this project.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Jerry?
No, I'm just, I'll go back to our communications there, since I haven't been in the loop here. Have we addressed all the things with the communications and getting that all squared away, I guess?
Yeah, Cybercom is moving straight ahead.
We are in the process of installing a tower up at Wilkes, adjacent to Wilkes Water Tower, a 100-foot monopole. A building permit was pulled yesterday, I believe. The tower is available on site, so we have to get the footings and everything else, and they're gonna put the tower up in the next week or two. We have the fall special, spring, winter special town meeting where we was $600,000 was appropriated for fiber and communications. A lot of that money will be for running fiber from the tower behind Town Hall, down past the police station, down to Wilkes, Manchog Water Tower. And then we're gonna also run fiber from down Boston Road to Wilkes Water Tower. So, and, you know, if money becomes available, Dennis has applied for a community compact grant through the state. If that becomes available, then we're gonna consider running fiber out to Town Farm Road, to that cell tower. So, you know, it's a pretty expansive system, and we have the money to accomplish it. Obviously, we'll be able to do more if we get some grant funding as well.
So the Pigeon Hill is out anyways, we're not.
Yes.
That's out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, exactly.
Wasn't feasible.
Wasn't, well, I wouldn't think it was, but.
Do you have anything to add on that?
No, you summed it up. By all accounts, it's rolling forward quickly, and we should have a 90% functioning rate with our radio system, which is far better than what we have now, so.
Now, is that 90% dependent upon the building being completed, or will that be up and running before the completion of the building?
Well, ideally, we'd like to do it simultaneously, you
Okay.
know, so, you know, as it goes now, it looks like we're gonna have everything in place before we get occupancy.
Fantastic.
So.
That'd be great to see you all have ability to actually talk throughout the town.
Yeah.
Novel concept.
Yeah, really.
Any other questions with regard to building or finance? I just want to thank everybody again. I mean, I'm really excited to see things sort of on point, and particularly on point financially, so happy to see that. With regard to old or new business, the only item I have is scheduling our next meeting, which will be in the heat of the summer, June 6th at 7 o'clock.
D-Day.
Yeah,
It is D-Day, you're correct.
D-Day.
Barnes and Noble employee.
No more.
Former.
Oh.
Any other new business or old business? I'm thrilled that we are efficient. That being said, I will entertain a motion.
Motion. Second.
Okay, maybe for his benefit, we could say what the motion is.
Too close meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that carries, and yes.
Great. We get
Nice
to
job.
see, we get to see a lot of the game tonight.